What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Jake, favorite investor. Let's get it cracking. Let's talk some real estate. Let's talk some current events. Let's talk whatever you guys want to talk about. Let's do this. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Welcome to the room. Welcome to the page. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Jake, favorite investor. We're going to talk house flipping, OPM, investing, economics, whatever y'all want to talk about. I am an open book today. What's going on? Thess Jackson, good to see you. Maravilla, welcome. Night Image, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. I just moved from California to Tennessee, and I can't find my birth certificate, so I can't change my license over yet. So that's how it's going. What's going on? What is going on? Good to see you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The red bearded hammer. What's up, Travis? Good to see you. OPM, that's right. Other people's money. So hey, you guys, today we are going to go over house flipping. I'll answer your questions. I don't have the trusty whiteboard in front of me today. We can talk mentorship program. We can talk about getting private money. We can talk about flipping strategy. We can talk money in general. We can talk mindset. We can talk current events. I'm not shy from that kind of stuff, although it may get censored if I do. But I do want to talk. I like talking. So you guys, first and foremost, I guess my name's Jake. I'm a real estate investor. I've been in the game for 11 years, every day for 11 years, pushing forward a little bit further. I've flipped 960 something houses at this point. I've got 15 in the works right now, and I still keep moving forward. I am not a real estate agent. I don't use my own money to do it still to this day, and I'm not a contractor either. Matter of fact, I never step foot inside most of my projects. The ones that you guys see mainly on my page are ones that are done between 500 and 3,000 miles away. I get those pictures sent to me from real estate agents and contractors as updates, as initial pictures when I put something under contract, or as my final listing pictures when we're about to list them. So everything you see is kind of a first eye, objective point of view of what I'm getting via text as updates to my business. I share the numbers with you. I share the strategy with you guys. And I like talking this game. It's fun for me. And yeah, that's how we go. So, the link, sorry about that. 10K is enough. We have different programs. Hit the link in my bio and schedule a call. Give me 1 second, you guys. I'm a dude. I can do one thing at a time. I actually just recently took a shower for the first time today, so I'm a little red here, but it's okay. I gotta be clean when I come on live. That's the one tough part. Since moving, and we've been in this new house for probably 2.5 weeks. There's boxes. There's still. I'll show you. This is what the side of my desk looks like. That's what we're looking like right now, right? And so I used to work. I had just a private office that I could work in, but now I'm working from home, and I'm getting flashbacks from when I first started in the game in 2011, 2012, where I was working from home, and I'm in basketball shorts till 4:00 in the afternoon. You can still get work done. I feel much better getting ready in the morning, though. I need to establish that routine, and I'm getting there. It's a lot better than it was last week when I was getting frustrated and kind of overwhelmed by my lack of structure. I'm definitely a creature of habit. So yeah, that's what's going on. So that's who I am. Before we get into it, and we're gonna break it down. We'll shoot the shit. I read the comments and I'll give you feedback. I can teach. I can tell stories. But before we do that, I need to know who's here. There's always a lot of new eyes on the page. There's a lot of people coming and a lot of people going. So if you're new, down in the chat, give me a hashtag new, give me a hand wave. And if you're not new, then don't do that. I just want to see who I'm talking to so I can structure the verbiage and the language to something that covers everybody. Or if we only have really experienced investors here, I can talk and use some of the jargon that experienced investors have. So what's up, Layla? Welcome. Shipped beans with the weird comments. Welcome, my friend. Eat my cheeks, right? Maravilla, welcome. Boogeyman Ants, welcome. Not Jonathan 23. You're probably Jonathan 24. Welcome. Riker, welcome. SD Nomad, welcome. Hey, Kyle Cooper, what's up? Good to see you. Official money page, official P money page, welcome. Mama Bella's, welcome. Jersey Shore, welcome. Flatline. Leanne Harrelson, what's going on? Welcome. The Real Ash 7, welcome. I Elizabeth, what's up? Luis Rodriguez, what's up? Kush Smoker. I'm not in California anymore, so I got to be careful on what I say about that. What's going on? Mr. Contreras? Mr. Handsome Island, you are not new. But bienvenidos, my friend. Flip it, Matt. What's going on? All right, good to see you guys. And we have a lot of the usual suspects in here as usual. So good to see all of you. So that's who I am. My name is Jake, real estate investor. Been flipping houses for a minute, 11 years. I can say I'm a decade into the game. And what questions do you guys have for me? What do you want to hear about today? Because I've got it all. This is like a brain dump for me when I do these. I can talk about all the different things that I do during the day. What people in my group, my mentorship program, which by the way, the mentorship program is open for a new open enrollment season starting today. I got 50 spots, and once that's at capacity, we shut that bad boy back down. How can a poor 16-year-old make a lot of money in a short amount of time? Any suggestions or recommendations? If you're 16 and you're trying to make money in a short amount of time, if you're seeking overnight success, like I would be a little weary of that, but a quick way in real estate is assigning contracts. You put a property under contract, you sell the rights to the contract for someone else, you make the difference. For example, if I find a property that somebody's saying they want to sell for $100,000, let's say I get it under contract for 90. Let's say I get it under contract for $100,000. What they're asking, let's say they're asking 100, and I offer them 110 and put it under contract. If I'm buying at enough of a discount, and if I've networked, and you can do a lot of this on social media, if I've networked with other investors that are willing to pay a little bit more for that, I can sign the rights to that contract, the rights to that contract to someone else for like, let's say $125,000, right? And sometimes I'm the one that buys those contracts from those wholesalers. So realistically, your reputation is on the line. It works quick. You just have to make sure the end buyer is going to close. A lot of people in the mentorship program, actually, Radhika and Charles, Bad Rad and Charles, I don't know if you're on here. I think you guys made like $100,000 on that first one that you did. They were going to flip it, and they bought it at such a good discount that local investors were just all over them about it, and they sold it for almost, it's either right below or right above six figures as a net profit for owning the property. With that one, they actually bought it with OPM, and then they sold the rights right away. But a lot of times, another strategy is putting it under contract and then selling the rights to the contract to someone else. For example, Vicky, if you're in here, Dory Bomb Bomb is her name. Vicky, if you are in here, what's up? And she's been in the group for almost 2 years, I think. And she's, I think, on her 8th flip. She just got a beast of a property on her 8th, her and Ruben. But there was one that she put under contract, I would say, this is probably 2 or 3 months ago. And she locked it in because she wanted to flip it. And we usually put an inspection period in our contract, meaning we have 7, 10, sometimes 14 days to go and get contractor bids, to examine the condition of the home, make sure there's nothing that jumps out, and just make sure we want to go forward with it. And something popped up, and I think it was with her contractors were a little bit too much for it to be a good deal. But the agent that she was working with had other investors that really wanted it, but she got it quickly. Speed is king in this business, and she got it real quick. And rather than back out of the deal when the numbers didn't work out, she assigned the rights to the property to the other investor that wanted it. So it was just a no deal for her. But because she knew how to lock it in correctly and at the right price point on paper, the other investor paid her $15,000, like literally, like overnight, or I think it was Friday to a Monday. They wired it to her up front for the rights to take over that contract because she wrote it correctly. So structure is really important. Numbers are really important. So assigning real estate's really you can make money quickly. You don't make as much money most of the time. And that's a saturated market too. There's a lot of people out there trying to get rich quick through wholesaling real estate. There's a lot of people that are really, really good at it. I just make more money with flipping, and I have systems, and this is me personally. I have systems in place where, once I run my numbers and put the right people in place, I'm just kind of, quality assurance, checking in every week, making sure everything's going at the right pace. If I need to interject, I do. I'd say a flip, let's say I'm $75,000 on a flip. Usually I spend, over the course of like 4, 5, 6 months, I spend maybe 5 hours total. A few text messages with the contractor, talking with the agent here and there. But I leverage other people's experience because I'm not a contractor, I'm not an agent. I get local contractors, local agents, and I pay them using other people's money. I would rather spend 5 hours doing that and get paid over the course of 4 or 5 months, 3 months maybe, than assigning a contract for, say, $10,000, even though it takes a couple weeks. My systems are pretty tight, but then again, I've been doing it every day for 11 months. I think anytime you're brand new at something, you're going to have to put in the work. So if you're 16 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 37 like me, and you're like, I just need to make money quick, real estate can make you money a lot more quickly than other, hustles. But you need to learn the mindset, learn the structure, learn how to structure a deal, learn how to negotiate. And that's work required and time required up front in order to get that kind of momentum. So I hope that answered your question. Feel free to put some of these down here in the thing. Here we go. Flippin' Matt, what part of Tennessee did you move to? I live in West Knoxville. I'm not going to tell you exactly where because I don't need you running up on my property. But I live in West Knoxville, which is like 2.5 hours from Nashville. It's in eastern Tennessee. Like it here so far. My kids start school next week. So that's pretty cool. We went to an area where we have a little bit of land. Not too much land, though, because I don't know if I can handle that yet. Being a Cali kid my whole life, I'm a refugee from California. I'm a political refugee. No, but really, like, cool neighborhood here. Nice house, right? And I like the vibe so far, although the humidity, it hits a little differently here in Tennessee. But that's great. Yeah, and we're getting the operation started out here in Tennessee in general, too. There's a lot of opportunity in these states that people are fleeing other states from. People are fleeing Illinois, fleeing Cali, fleeing New York, fleeing New Jersey. They're going to places like Florida, like Tennessee, Utah, Idaho, Texas, right? So we're seeing interesting things in the real estate market with those areas. And I think it's a huge opportunity to capitalize on it because I don't think it's going to stop anytime in the short term. So, yeah. So anyway, that's that. Let's see what else we got here. How to find private lenders. Well, this is a good question. It's a very vague question. I mean, like in my mentorship program, I have 10, 11 days worth of content on really like how to structure it correctly. But if I'm going to look at this from a 40,000 foot view, most people think that they have to find and have a commitment from private lenders up front. Which, I mean, it doesn't hurt in like talking to them up front just so you can kind of get over the typical intimidation that most people have when they first start. They're always intimidated by the money, and the money is actually the simplest part. But realistically, the process goes like this. You find a good deal, right? And there's also a lot of, I could talk for 3 days straight about finding a good deal, but you got to find a good deal where the numbers work out. In flipping, you want to find a deal where you can resell it you have a proven resale value based on neighborhood trends of much higher than what you can buy it for. And usually it's either in distressed condition or you have a motivated seller that just wants to get rid of the property quickly. I buy equal amounts of both. I don't mind beater houses. I don't mind good houses that somebody just needs a quick solution on. But as long as the numbers work out, I usually put it under contract, 2-week close, maybe a 10-day close, maybe a 21-day close. I lock it in and I give myself an inspection period. They can be as short as 3 days. It can be as long as 14 days. And in that time frame, whatever time frame that the seller agrees to, at that point, I take the numbers that I have as far as like estimates are concerned, get a bunch of contractor bids. I send the property in like a nice little package to as many lenders as I can find in that area. And typically you can find them on Google. You can find them from referrals from other investors, Facebook groups. You can find them on Instagram. I mean, there's a lot of them on Instagram, a lot of them that follow this page now. But I like to lock it in under contract, make sure my numbers are good, send it to a bunch of lenders, and then watch them fight each other for the opportunity to earn my business. And you're probably like, well, you've been doing this for 11 years, so they're probably fighting for you. No, brand new investors also have lenders fighting each other for the opportunity for their business. And it's much different than like buying a house on the open market. Not buying a house on the open market. Come on, Jake. Getting a traditional bank loan, right? Like doing the traditional FHA loan through Wells Fargo or Bank of America. In those types of situations, if you're getting a traditional bank loan, you go to the bank, they look at your credit score, they look at your tax returns for however many years, they look at your pay stubs, they want to make sure that they have a full profile on you, and then they pre-qualify you. And then traditionally, that's when you go out and start looking for houses based on, what you're pre-qualified for or under, right? With flipping and private money, it's opposite, and it kind of trips people out a little. We have a lot of lenders that like people that are from the traditional mortgage space that get into our group, and they're like, gosh, I've been doing this for 16 years, and I didn't realize that it was, flipped around like that. So what we do is we go find the property, we get the lead, we lock the property in under contract, and once that's under contract, then we send it over to the lenders. Private lenders lend money based on the deal, not necessarily based on your financial history. So if you have a 500 credit score and, you're in between jobs right now, if you have a good property under contract that's profitable on paper, and you can prove why it's going to sell for this much, hey, I got 4 bids, this is why it's going to cost this much to renovate it, and here's my contract that I put in under contract at this price point. Lender, whether it's me and I've done 900 plus flips and have good credit, right? And it wasn't always like that, or somebody else, and I'm not assuming anything, but I'm going like extreme opposite. Somebody brand new that may not have the best credit. They're in the process of improving their credit score, and they're in between jobs, and they don't have like a normal income, or like a consistent income, I guess is what I'm saying. Me and you will both have the same opportunity to get money from a lot of the same sources. The only difference is the money might be a little bit cheaper for me, but it's not that much cheaper, and it doesn't make a huge difference in the profit at the end of the day. And so the lenders look at the deal because they put what's called a lien on the property. And if something happens, like let's say I do something shady, I want to flee the country, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm not going to like adhere to my contract with the lender. I'm not going to pay my interest payments or whatever it is. Or, God forbid, let's say I get struck by lightning and I'm a vegetable and I can't carry it through. The lender has the opportunity to take over the house. And the better deal you have on paper, the more secure the lender is, right? Like if there's 70 grand of potential profit at the end of the day, and that lender's in that deal, and typically they control paying the contractor, which is a load of weight off of our shoulders. If I turn into a vegetable tonight, that lender can overtake that property, and that potential profit goes to them, right? They're protected by the amount of profit that you have on the deal. So it's a matter of finding the right deal first, locking it in under contract so you're in control of that asset. You can either choose to move forward or back away where nobody else can get in on it. And the better that potential profit is, the more lenders are going to be throwing their money at you, and they'll close it quick, just like a cash deal. It's just other people's cash. And that's how I've been doing it for a long time. That's how there's hundreds of people in my group that are doing it that didn't realize that this stuff existed before they got in or before they got their first exposure to the business. It's a very opportune business. There's opportunity everywhere as long as you know where to look. And feedback I often get when people get into it and things start clicking for them, especially in my groups, because I have candid relationships with a lot of people. They're like, these opportunities have been right under my nose, and I went to college. I've been working a 9 to 5 and trying to pull overtime and working weekends, and I didn't realize that I could just make a few offers. I mean, obviously you need to know how to talk to people and what certain things mean and how to structure an offer. But it's like, gosh, this stuff has been right under my nose. People are like, I went to college. I got good grades. I studied. I'm a business major or whatever it is. And they're like, I had no idea that this existed, and 1 or 2 deals per year could pay, could essentially double what my income is, and I'm spending much less time on it. And that's what's lucrative about the game for me. I didn't know I had a place at this table. I had no idea, and I did go to college. Now, I smoked a lot of weed and like partied in college. I didn't pay attention as much as I probably should have. But I got a business degree by one credit, and I knew enough to be able to pass tests, even though I didn't show up in class. And I got into the game after having a 4 or 5 year sales career too. And by the way, a person with social anxiety that has a sales career over the phone, like that was an interesting little transition for me too. But it was eye-opening and life-changing. And I remember saying, like, I grew up, Stockton, California. A lot of people ended up getting into bad stuff, locked up, no longer here, that kind of stuff. It's like, man, people that hustled on the street, that had like really good business skills and hustle and drive, but got into the wrong like product, I guess you could say. Don't ask me any questions about that, please. But it ended up behind bars, and they could take that same like creativity and hustle and drive and persistence and apply it to the housing game, and they'd be millionaires at this point, right? And so I've always, it kind of, it opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it also offended the shit out of me that this stuff is like kept secret, right? And I know Mentorship Program name Flip Secret's kind of a corny name, but they really are. It's the stuff that's right in front of all of our faces, and I think it's by design that people don't teach us the way that you can make a shit ton of money in this game. And if you're under 18, make sure you ask your parents if you can listen to this, because I do drop F-bombs here and there. But there's so much opportunity, and the barrier for entry is really low, meaning like you don't have to have a certain credit score, experience level, or dress in a suit or speak super, be all buttoned up. You can take a hustle and a drive and a will, like an unwillingness, relentless drive to succeed, like through like the chaos that comes when you start something new. And like anybody can get into this game. The hard part is the barrier for entry really is getting out of our own way and having to unlearn all the shit that the government education system, these corporations and the media has taught us about it, falsely taught us about ourselves. That the hardest part is getting out of our own way and learning to deal with making mistakes and failure and creating momentum and actually working for reward. I think a lot of that's by design, and that's why I do what I do. I'm actually looking at this next question, bro. I'm going to keep going now because you're talking that ish. So that's that. Okay. Yeah, if you do have a question, throw it in the there's some weird stuff going on in the comments. How can I start investing and how much do you need? I mean, you ask people in my group, watch the people that I tag in my group. A lot of them bring someone in for 5-10K. That's usually what's called a gap funder, and they'll help you with your down payment if you need a down payment help. Like, if you run your numbers correctly, you can either fund the whole thing yourself, you can get a hard money lender for most of it and then come in with the rest out of your own pocket, or do a combination of a hard money lender and what's called a gap funder, who comes in and partners with you for your down payment and your monthly interest payments thereafter. And a lot of people will take 3 or 4 different lenders at $5 to $10 grand each to come in and do a second position lien on a property. And your return is going to be negotiable with your investor. But yeah, I mean, I've taken as low as I think like $3,500 when I first started. Like, I had a friend that was like, I got $3,500, I want to invest it. I was like, well, I can get you at a part of this deal. You're going to have a small part of it, but it'll be secured by real estate. You get a good return on it. Anywho, let's see. All right, let's see. Here's a good question. I see there's a lot of good questions there. Do you need a real estate license to flip? Absolutely not. I do not have a license. We have maybe 2% of people in my group in Mentorship Program, which, by the way, link below, link above, link in the bio. Hit that up if you're interested. It ain't for everybody. It's not free. It's not cheap, but it's the best way to get in the game and the quickest way too. You don't have to be an agent. If you are, it doesn't hurt. Typically, a real estate agent is licensed in the state that they're in. And if you're only looking to if you are an agent, you're only looking to flip houses in the state that you're in, I think you're selling yourself very short, because there's opportunity everywhere. I mean, I don't flip houses anywhere close to where I live. I might be doing a little bit here in Eastern Tennessee for the first time in quite some time, but I typically try not to do it where I live. Now, if you are a real estate agent and you're flipping houses in your backyard, meaning your neighborhood or your area, I got you guys. Let's see. Block. All right, I got one of those guys blocked because I looked up and I saw your mom drive on my eggplant emoji. We can't do that. Come on now. Keep it civil. I know I drop F-bombs in here and you can troll me if you want, but come on now. This is not an AOL chat room, and if you're not old enough to know what that is, then I think I've just aged myself. But so a real estate agent is going to be someone local. They'll hold open houses. They'll negotiate the contract and all that kind of stuff for you. I love real estate agents, and the really good ones help me make a lot of money, and I make them a lot of money as well. But you don't need that. Some people are if they're doing a lot of stuff where they live, but it's definitely not a prerequisite. Most of the beast investors that I know, like the ones that have done hundreds of deals over the years, are not agents unless they have something strictly in their backyard, in which case sometimes they are, so they can save some money. So it just kind of depends on what area you're doing it, but it's absolutely not a prerequisite. OPM means other people's money. It's private money that does not come from your pocket. It's loans from private lenders that don't underwrite giving you a loan based on your personal financial situation or credit score or anything like that. Instead, they underwrite the loan based on the house and the profitability of the house. All right, let's see what we got. I'm a real estate agent. What's up, Daniela Sells? Callie? What's the best way to find great investors? Well, just send all your deals to me. That's a tough question because I'm the investor. It's like, how do people find me? I think right now, in this day and age, social media is pretty good. I've been contacted by agents. Actually, one of my best agents found me on Instagram. Was like, hey, I see you do a lot in this area. I've got these off-market deals. And I started making a ton of money with her. What's up, Kim? If you're there. Kimberly. But like I've been hit up by agents that look at tax roll, and because if you're an agent, right, you want to find investors. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? There's like a thing going on at the top. So I've been headhunted by people looking at tax roll and seeing people that have sold multiple houses in a certain area, and they'll skip trace something or find my email and find me. There's for the experienced agent, there's a lot of brand new investors that don't have a track record, that are really like learning from the right people, have a ton of potential. And so, it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Are you trying to find great investors? Or are you trying to find experienced investors? Are you trying to find buy and hold investors? Are you trying to find, subject to Airbnb investors? Are you trying to find investors that are going to overpay? If you want investors that are going to overpay, you should probably get people from other people's programs instead of mine, because my flippers will not overpay. But I think it's just like anything, like the way to really, you got to put in the work, right? You need to be intentional with the work. Social media is a great way to find people like me and people like the folks on my team that are posting content about investing. Typically, that's a really good market strategy, because after all, you don't know who we are if we don't tell you. And get good listings. Get distressed property listings. You list something. A lot of investors right now, because it's a feeding frenzy, the good investors will contact you directly, right? And that's probably not the best thing. I don't teach real estate agents. I teach the actual flippers, but that would be my response. What and if you study at UNI? Jimmy Lord, I don't understand the question. You probably talking about university. Yeah, I went to University of Redlands in Southern California. That's how I ended up in Southern California. And I studied, at first I thought I wanted to be a computer science major until I started taking computer science classes, and then I quickly changed it to business. Because I knew I wanted to make money, and I knew that it was like an easier route in college, and it was well-rounded. As a computer science major, you got to like go into a computer science, career path, or else your degree is worthless. And then in business, it's like, okay, I would have options. I have a business major. I could, usually people that hire are businesses, right? And so that's why I study business. I have a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. I don't know what that means. I don't use it, but I got the piece of paper. Let's see what else we got. All right, this is a good one. All right, Mizzy, what houses are easier to get and flip? Tax lien homes or foreclosure? Also, what's a tip to give to young entrepreneurs trying to make it? I think that's what it says. It cut off there. I don't know if I can. Young entrepreneurs looking into real estate, flipping houses specifically. First, so two questions. The first one, for me, this is my experience. Foreclosure is way easier than tax liens. I've never bought a tax lien. Although there's like 700 courses that are like the upsell courses where they get you in on a tax lien training, because on paper it seems so easy, right? And then they start upselling you to how most investors actually do business, which is doing deals on the market, finding actual willing sellers rather than taking advantage of a tax lien loophole. I know people that have bought tax liens. I don't have any personal experience with it. I bought a shit ton. I bought hundreds of REOs. Typically an REO, the bank, once they foreclose on a home, they have a process that they go through, and they have a preferred REO agent that they end up putting it back on the open market with. And if something's on the open market, like on the MLS or on Redfin or Zillow as for sale, that means you have someone on the other side that wants to sell that house. Foreclosures, private sales, whatever it is, like if it's on the open market, they're trying to make a deal. And I just happen to be a person to make a deal with. And so it's been much simpler for me. I don't know the complexities of tax lien sales in different states and counties. And again, I've never done one before, but I've done hundreds of foreclosures. So, but a tip to give young entrepreneurs in house flipping specifically, I would say that you have to understand that you have to invest your resources to get in the game, right? Like, it doesn't come free, it doesn't come overnight, but it comes to you a lot quicker than other places. So you're gonna likely want to invest your time, your attention, right? I think those are the two most valuable resources into whatever it is you're doing. Your money, right? Like, there's a lot of people like me that share what we've learned in the last 10, 20 years of actually doing it. You can shorten the learning curve. Not everybody feels comfortable paying money for information or knowledge or paying a coach. So I think the first thing is take inventory of what resource you're willing to invest to make it, right? Because you're not going to make it without investing some type of resource. You have to do the work, you have to learn, you have to figure it out. And that's a big part of the game. And so the beauty of social media is that there's a lot of people out there like me. There's probably 10 other people out there that have done the volume that I've done, that probably also coach. Some of them do, some of them don't. Some will charge you six figures. Some of them just have courses. Some of them have a coaching program or a mentorship program like I do. I personally, when I first started, I was of the belief, when I first started, I went to a seminar. I was broke, and my girlfriend put it on her credit card for me to go to a seminar because I tried to start another business and it failed. I used 3 credit cards. One of them, she extended the limit on hers, and then she co-signed 2 new credit cards with me. I had $700 in my bank account. I went to a $15,000 seminar, and I was like, am I crazy? Is she crazy for believing in me? And I went to it, and I learned enough and got enough belief that I could do it, that for the next couple months, that was my sole focus. It was like 2.5 months making 5 to 10 offers. I made 272 offers, and they were all rejected until I got my 273rd offer accepted. And I made 38 grand on that one. I paid everybody back, and the rest is history. But even earlier on in the business, and I think it's probably because I was young, and also I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up with business in my family, I guess. Not shitting on my family. Like, I had pretty cool parents, but I would say for the first maybe year or two, I was like, well, I'm going to learn this. Like, I'm going to learn this school of the hard knocks. I want to go through I want to learn it by trial and error and that kind of stuff. And then once I started actually paying people for help to get me from where I was at to that next level I wanted to be at, things progressed pretty quickly. And now I try. It's like I'm in right now in my life, I want to learn something new. I'll try to figure out a way to pay them for it. And I try to pay people as much as possible for it because I know that they respect what they're doing, and it makes me kind of respect the time that I put into it a little bit more. So it's like added in pressure. But and I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but for the first couple of years, I was like, oh no, trial and error. And I felt like my first 3 months in the game, or I guess my first 4 months in the game, I learned a shit ton. I had a coach from that seminar program that kind of helped me out off the record and, informally coached me a little bit, and I had some success, and I didn't have anyone. I had no structure or definiteness of purpose with what I was doing. I feel like in my first 2 years of the business, although I was making money, I just repeated the same 3 months over and over again. I was like a new investor doing the same new investor stuff for like 2 years because I was like, I'm just going to figure it out on my own. Then I got with somebody that was like 15 years in the game, paid him for a couple sessions, just a few little tweaks. Like some of the stuff he told me I already knew. The few little tweaks that he gave me, I 4X'd what I made like almost 500 grand in a year, like my second to third, right? 18 months to 24 months. And I lost all that, by the way, because I thought I had made it and I got a little ego to me. I lost every dime that I had. But every time I've hired someone, I feel like real estate, specifically flipping, even if you know a lot of the stuff that they teach you, there's always 1 or 2 tweaks that you can get from somebody, one or two tweaks to your business. That, let's say you do 2 more flips per year, and those flips make you 40 grand each. I mean, the return on investment from just getting a little bit of information that's from somebody that's doing it big, it could be life altering, right? You make additional 80, 100 grand a year in your business, and if you can make that repetitive and you keep doing that for 10 years plus, there's a lot of money to be made and a lot of like financial freedom and pressure off our shoulders that we can have. That's I feel like a lot of times, they say the rich get richer. It's because there's like compounding, like the compounding interest effect, where me, like when I first started, I had like my entry level stuff, and I was just doing it for 2 years, like trying to keep moving at that entry level pace. And I paid someone, and all of a sudden Like I was going like this, and all of a sudden I went like this, right? And then I paid someone else, and I went like this. And so it's like once you can stack on what you already have, if you're willing to work hard and work smart by leveraging what other people already know in the information age, the attention age, there's really no limits to what we can do, which is why I always say it's a mindset game. If you have the right information, you just got to get out of your own way and really start applying things. So, anywho, that's a good one. That's a good question. Sometimes I forget I'm even answering questions. Do you suggest me getting FHA loan for a multifamily property that I want to live in? Lewis. Hey, is Robert Wintergartner in here? Rob, are you here? Rob from my group just bought one. And he bought it at a pretty good rate. I don't know if you're in here or not. Who knows if you're in here. But if Rob is in here, Rob's been in the program for maybe a month now. But he just did that, and he's going to house hack it, meaning he's going to live in one of the units and he's going to rent out the other two. So he told me, and Rob, hopefully I'm not spilling too much info, but he told me that like 2 days before signing it, what he wanted to do, and I don't think you're in here, but what he wanted to do is rent the other 2 units out as Airbnb. And he had to sign something under penalty of perjury that said that he will not rent the 2 other units out as short-term, they're called STR, right? Short-term rental. And so, yeah, you can definitely get it. If you have the credit and financial profile to get an FHA loan on something, and you can find a seller that's willing to sell you something at a discount rather than someone like me that'll close it in 1/3 of the time, that's a great resource because it's very low down payments. You do have PMI on it and that kind of stuff, but you can get into a really good asset if your numbers are right and if the condition of the property is right as well. I think FHA loan is a great resource for sure. All right. You're welcome. All right, what's up? What's up, Lexi? So Lexi is in my OPM Essentials course. It's a little private, $1,000 course that we have. We make it available every now and again. Can you explain the earnest money in your process for the lenders? Yeah, for sure. So Lexi, good question. So earnest money deposit. So we're talking about putting a property under contract. Let's say I find a house. The lead is sent to me. Let's say I analyze a deal real quick based on Redfin. I'll show you how I analyze a deal. I'll show you this right now. Let me find it. Let me find it first. I'll show you exactly how I run my business. So let's say I'm looking in a specific area. We're not going to do the area that I'm at right now because I don't want you seeing that. But let's say it's loading. Right, I can go into any area and look at what's sold in the last 6 months and get data points in any pocket, right? So if I have a 1,000 square foot property that's 2 beds, 1 bath, and it gets put on my desk, let's say it's built in 1965, I will look in that neighborhood that it's in from an overhead map view and look at what's sold in the last 6 months of properties that are around 1,000 square feet, built between 1955 and say 1975. I want to look at what's sold in that area first, right? And don't worry, Lexi, I'm going to get to answering your question. That's the first. So first thing, I want to find a trend. If I see everything that's sold and it's at a consistent number, then I'm going to move forward a little bit more. That's me beginning with the end in mind. If I can get a consistent number there, I know what I should be able to sell my house for in 4 or 5 months, right? So that's number one. Number two, I want to see what condition those homes are in, what they have as far as like a kitchen, flooring, paint, what the exterior looks like, what they're doing with the bathrooms. Like, is it an open floor plan, closed? I need to know what condition it needs to be in. Then third, once I get a read on that, that's when I look at what it currently is looking like and what they're asking for. So I work backwards, okay? If I submit an offer on the property, I'll say, 5-day inspection and a 14-day close, meaning as soon as they accept my offer that I've written to them, nobody else can bid on the property. And the first 5 days, I can inspect the property. I can send my contractors over there, make sure my numbers work out. If something doesn't work out, I can back out of the deal or ask for a price reduction. But if everything works out in those 5 days, I continue to move forward. And those additional 9 days to make up the total of 14 days is me bringing my lenders in, signing documents. The title company is going to coordinate ownership, make sure the right people get the right money. But anyway, so that's kind of the process of putting something under contract and choosing whether or not you're going to go forward. Typically, and this is called different things in different states. In Texas, it's called an option period. In California, it's called an inspection period, right? It's called different things, but it's realistically the same thing, which is you have an opportunity to inspect the property. Also, usually part of that contract, within 72 hours, or I guess 3 business days of your offer getting accepted, a deposit is due at the title company, right? Title company is who kind of coordinates the transaction. So let's say I write something up, like I have a deal that I have under contract right now. I locked it in for $325. I can resell it for $480. There's about $45 in rehab. Okay, should make me about $50,000 in 6 months later on this year. They said that they wanted to have like a full 25-day closing, right? Because there's like court process and they need to get it approved. It's a probate sale. I won't bore you with the details of that. But in the first 3 days, I needed to have $5,000 over to them. Okay, sometimes I write it as $1,000, sometimes I write it as $2,000. And what that does is that's a placeholder, okay? I send it to the title company, right? I wire it, or if it's local, I could bring in a check, and they hold that. And then if I back out of the deal, they return it to me, okay? Now, if I decide to move forward, if I'm doing it with 100% other people's money, my lenders take that position, and the excess money that's in the title company comes back to me, okay? And the reason I was talking about the inspection period is because if I back out of the deal, that money comes right back. Now, Lexi, you're probably talking about, okay, what if I don't have that $2,000 or that $5,000 needed to lock in my place? I want you to do a Google search for EMD, Earnest Money Deposit Lenders, or go find gap funders as you learned how to do, or hard money lenders, as you learned how to do in OPM Essentials. And I would ask them, say, hey, do you have any private investors that might be interested in partnering with me on an earnest money deposit loan? What I recommend to people, like in our group, we have people that give each other EMD loans all the time. I would recommend saying, look, if I back out of the deal, obviously you get your $1,000 back within the first 5 days or 7 days, and I'll give you $100 for your trouble. But if I move forward with the deal, I'll give you $500 as a return on your money. So worst case scenario, they get $100 back and their money back. Best case scenario, they get their $1,000 back plus $500 on top of it, right? And in the big scheme of things, if you have a property where you're going to make $60,000 in profit, well, you're going to make $59,500 now because you had to leverage OPM to get an EMD loan. So there's a lot of creative ways to do that. As you know, everything is negotiable. It's a really good way for people to get in the game when they think that they absolutely can't get in. It's like if you have the right property and your numbers are on point, you unlock a lot of doors for yourself as long as you know how to run those numbers, which if you're in OPM Essentials, you do know how to do that. All right? Let's answer more questions. All right. All right. So this is a question about Mentorship Program. Is the course/classes live or recorded? It's a combo of both plus networking. So and I'm talking about the Mentorship Program here. This is what we opened up today. 50 spots, and we're shutting it down. Okay. So there's 3 tiers, okay? There's courses that are pre-recorded. I do not believe in doing live classes. I mean, sometimes we'll do like a live Zoom call and people in our group will run those and just kind of going over some of the key points and talking about what's working for them. But it's 35 days of content that's pre-recorded. It is like my life's work. It's everything in A to Z. It's my business on a platform, like on a silver platter, going from getting the lead, how to get lenders throwing money at you while you sleep. It's generating leads while you sleep. It's getting the best contractors, keeping them, making sure you keep them honest. It's how to sell for top dollar, how to refinance and convert a property into a long-term rental to get you mailbox money. It's about mindset. All of our documents, calculators, templates, scripts, okay? That's all it's like one portion of the program. The second portion is one-on-ones, okay? So the first portion, the pre-recorded content, and the reason I don't like live training to teach you the foundational pieces, because I've done the seminar thing before, and I've seen it where people have an emergency and they have to go take a call for 2 hours, and they come back and all of a sudden they missed everything. So that's one part. It's the rules to the game is what, like my metaphor for it. I like sports. The second piece is one-on-ones with me. I do one-on-ones as much or as little as people need. I do not do the work for you, but I work with you kind of in the passenger seat while you're driving this new car, this new Lamborghini, essentially. And so doing that's how to play within the rules for you to win based on your personal skill sets, personality type, business, entrepreneurial personality type, where you're at in your business, right? So you have the rules to the game with the pre-recorded content. You have the one-on-ones, which is how to play within those rules to win. Then we have like 800 people in our private groups it's like a mini economy. They're funding each other's deals, celebrating wins, sharing resources, sharing lenders, sharing contractor feedback. They really help each other out a lot. And that's kind of like your, I guess, for lack of a better metaphor, and this is kind of corny, but they're like your teammates. And they're all across the country. They're using the same exact structure to flip houses in every market. And they talk about their experiences. And we celebrate wins in that group. And so I think with the program, depending on where you're at, like right now you're like, dude, I just need to learn the rules to the game. And that's covered with the content. A lot of people are like, I want to work with you, Jake. I want to pick your brain, blah, 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 blah. And that's the one-on-ones. But I think big picture, once people learn the rules, they start getting success, they create momentum. That network, people tap in from their phone from anywhere in the country. You may be in Texas, find a property in Washington, and have a lender in Florida, and you can coordinate all that just with your phone. And I think that, and I've been around, like I've been an advanced coach. I've written content for other people's programs back in the day before I started having kids. There's nothing that's like it. It's manifested into a little family environment. Good, bad, and ugly. People have each other's backs. They're protective of each other. They really help each other out because everybody, I feel like, I don't know if it's me attracting the right people, but everybody wants to see each other win. There's room on this. There's so much opportunity out there. It's not like if you take an opportunity, a lot of people say, oh, you coach, there's not going to be enough opportunity for you. It's like, dude, I've done even better since coaching, since giving away the game. And so it truly is like an abundance mindset group where we're all focused on increasing our potential, bridging the gap between where we're at and our potential. And I think that the common denominator for our group is most people, not all, but most people, like it's about freedom, right? Like freedom of time. You don't have to pull those double shifts. You don't have to go paycheck to paycheck on a fixed income where the government's going crazy with inflation and, increasing taxes. They just proposed to increase taxes again on anyone above 30 grand, which is stupid. If you have a variable income, and you have an abundance mindset, like you can get ahead of what's going on in the current economic environment, climate, sham. You don't want to ask me about that kind of stuff because I'll get kicked off of Instagram. But so that it's an all-encompassing thing. You have a little bit of everything. So you got the content, which is pre-recorded. You have one-on-ones, which are live, and then you have the network, which is like, that's what I'm most proud of about this program. So, anywho, you want to see my view of my backyard right now? Although there's boxes all over the place. This is what I'm looking at in the background. Look at that. Look at that. We don't have that. I didn't have that in California, I'll tell you that. Land like that would be much more expensive than it is here. So let's see what else we got going on. Oops, took away my link. Give me 1 second, you guys. How do I do this? Yeah, hey, you guys, if you're interested in the program, I got 50 spots, okay? And we're shutting it back down, probably increasing the price point again at 50. Hit the link in my bio. What's up, Kiali, right? What's up, man? Aloha. Hit the link in my bio. Check out what we're all about. There's testimonials. They're very candid testimonials. If you're interested, hit the next link or hit the link that says submit application, answer the questions. That'll take you to a scheduling page where you can schedule a call with the team. If you schedule a call, show up or else you're not going to be in, okay? Don't just ghost somebody that takes a half hour out of their day to schedule around doing a call. You can tell that I'm bitter about that. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Pin comment. From Morocco. Nice. I'm in Tennessee. I am 3 weeks into my residency in Tennessee, in Eastern Tennessee, and I like it. I like it quite a bit. I finally found a barber that could hook me up. It's not quite the life-changing fade that I had in California, but I'll find it. I will find him. Mexico! What's up, Mexico? Bella's mama, what's up, Danielle? Good to see you. Do you need any open house bartenders? Dude, that would be pretty fun. Maybe I would actually attend an open house if I did that. Out of the 960 flips that I've done, I've gone to one of my open houses because I was passing through town because somebody was getting married close to where it was at, and I had the kids, and we went into the open house, and it freaked me the F out because you have all these buyers who are like, oh, wow, look at that. The paint is running a little bit right there. And I'm like, this is my flip. Yeah, I got all personal about it. So I don't flip. Like the closest flip that I have to me now that I moved to Tennessee is probably 3,200 miles away. No, probably about 2,500 miles away. I take that back. So Yeah, I mean, you talk to different agents. That would be pretty cool to have. Get somebody all sauced up so they'd be like, yeah, I want to buy this house. That'd be pretty cool. I'm married, guys. I'm married to a woman. We have 3 kids and a dog. I feel flipping houses now are bad investments. Yeah, most speculators do, which is why it's like a really, if you're looking at it a year ago where everybody's like, oh, I'm going to buy a house. You had all this competition. People that didn't know what they were doing were like overpaying for properties. And some of them made money and some of them felt the effects of that. But a lot of folks on the sidelines are like, I feel like flipping's a bad investment because, interest rates are going up. There's not as much competition, meaning I get significant price decreases and I know how to read trends where I know what they'll resell for in good shape. As long as I'm reading the trends and trusting the trends, like there's a lot of profit potential right now. And I like that. Most people on the outside that are, and no offense to you, but I love that most people that are speculating are scared, right? Warren Buffett, right? He says, buy fear and sell greed. And I bought in fearful times, and right now is a somewhat fearful. I feel like it was way more fearful about a month ago because everybody's like, it's going to be '08 again. It's going to, it's going to be worth half the price overnight. But now people are like, never mind. No, it's not. I bought when there's been greed. Like I bought at the beginning of the pandemic. I bought a lot. I made $1 million at the, two months into the pandemic because I didn't see the writing on the wall. Like I didn't see the fear that everybody had. And the numbers were on point. It's kind of similar to right now where you get significant discounts. Now, I didn't see them dropping interest rates so low so that people were just throwing money at the market. So I didn't see the appreciation. That's the reason why the properties I bought right at the beginning of the pandemic, before they dropped interest rates, by the time the flips were done, interest rates were way down and everybody had this money. So because of the moves I made when everybody had fear, I made a ton of money doing that. And I'm not trying to brag or shit on it. I still wear my $10 t-shirts and flip-flops. I'm not wearing any shoes right now. I'm actually not wearing any pants either. Stop looking. I got you. But I feel like it's a similar time right now where people that understand the game, nobody thinks the market's going to crash if they understand the game. Now, it could happen because we're in unprecedented times and we have an unprecedented government that seems hell-bent on hitting people hard. But I also think that if you look at food, right, food shortages, you have all these plants, and I'll bring this back, I promise. With food, right, food prices are about to spike up, and you have inflation causing some of that. You have food shortages. All of a sudden, just all these food processing plants are blowing up. You have fertilizer either being super regulated by all the different governments that we import from. And so all this stuff is going to be scarce, and the price points are going to go up. Are you going to stop buying food, right? Is the food market going to crash? No. We have a similar thing with real estate. Yeah, interest rates are going up, but inflation's way higher than interest rates are going up right now. I think they severely understate what inflation is right now. I think it's way above 9%. You have that. You have a huge shortage of supply. And the demand, although it wasn't what it was 6 months ago, there's way more demand than supply. There's like a shortage of 4 million homes in the country, and they're not building any new homes. So there's scarcity in what's out there. Things are taking a little bit longer to sell. It's way better right now than it was right before the pandemic. It's just not what it was last year. Last year was a unicorn. 2020 and 2021, that's a unicorn. But in the last 11 years, I've seen up and down markets, and this is we're not at a normal market yet. It's still, things are moving quick, but I think if they raise interest rates a little bit more, it'll just be a normal market. So instead of putting a property on the market for a weekend and getting 18 offers over listing, instead it keeps people honest, and you put a property on the market and it's going to take 14 to 28 days to get the offer that you want. And so people have to have patience and realize that the last couple of years weren't normal, right? It's never really normal. It's just trends. It's ups and downs. There's certain things, supply and demand, that dictate price points, and there's interest rates which dictate people's ability to buy. So there's less buyers in because people are getting priced out. But that's how I see it. I'm making big moves. People in my group are making big moves, and we're making money. It's just you're not getting 25 offers over the first 24 hours. All right? Now, if I'm wrong about that, I know that, this is something that I've learned because I've lost everything. I know that the government can take our money, taxes, the court system can take money, right? Money comes and goes. Now, we all want to keep money as long as possible, of course. We don't, the whole new level to the game is after you make money is keeping money, right? The tax code and all stuff like that. But, you can take everything from me. You could take, who knows how that could happen. The market could crash. I don't foresee that happening. That's a once every 80 years type thing typically. And we had that in 2007. But you could take it from, I could make a mistake. You take everything from me. You cannot take my skill sets, my mindset, or my habits, right? And it's a very comforting and empowering feeling, knowing that I'll be good even if I started on ground zero. I can start in the negative, and I know I'll build back quicker than I ever have. I've done it once. I do it again because I have knowledge from people that came before me, from people that have come up after me. I have enough knowledge to be able to navigate there. You could drop me anywhere in the country in any financial situation, me having any credit score situation. And I know with my skill sets and knowledge of how to work with different resources outside of money, my resourcefulness, those skill sets, you can't take those. Like, I'll be fine. And I truly believe that. And there's a lot of, because back in the day when I had a job, and I hate that word, that's a bad word for me. But when I had a job, I was scared. Like, what'll happen if I lose my job? What'll happen if I get laid off? Like, I know I can create opportunity. I know I can. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that you put me in the worst possible scenario, shit hits the fan, I'll press reset and I'll build it back up quickly. Because you can't take those skill sets from me. You can't take my mindset from me. You can't take the habits. You can't take the hunger from me. Period. And so, yeah. Going Tony Robbins on you guys today. So we'll go on the top. Do you provide a payment plan to get the program? Yeah, we do. There's a 4-payment plan and a 2-payment plan that we have. And it's just once up front, once at 30 days, once at 60 days, and once at 90 days. So we have that. We also have a 14-day money-back guarantee, even if you're on a payment plan. If you don't feel like you have the full value in the first 2 weeks, full value, just back out. I'm cool with that. Don't try to do it 30 days in because something happens, right? But we also have a third-party lender. And they took months to vet us, and we vetted them. I'd say probably 1 in every 5 people that gets into our program uses this third-party lender. It's not us; we're not associated with them, but they've approved us in just vetting our testimonials, success stories, and stuff like that. Where if you make above $35,000 a year before taxes, right, on your pay stubs or on your K1 if you're a business owner. If you do that and you have 3 months of pay stubs and you can show that you make $35,000 a year and you have a 620 plus credit score, there's a third party that'll give you a 5-year loan. So it's like a few $100 a month. I think $400 or $500 a month you can get in. And they don't have a prepayment penalty, so you can flip your first house. Let's say you get paid on your first flip 6 months and you just pay that off and the rest is just profit. So there is literally OPM to learn about flipping with OPM. And then we also, sometimes people have and some of you guys that are on here actually have gone through those programs to get into our group, and you have a lot of success with it. But there's also another lender that if you have the income but you don't have the credit, they're a little bit more flexible with the credit. And so we're fine with that. We're fine with 2 people coming in as a partnership. So yeah, that's totally cool. There's a lot of ways to go about it. I would schedule a call and just talk about it because I don't. The reason we schedule those calls is because I don't care if you're brand new. I don't care what type of situation you're in. But if you're looking to, like, if you have a goal and it's something I don't have experience with or knowledge on, like I won't take your money if I can't help, Like, I'm very niche down. I flip houses in today's market leveraging other people's money, and I do it remotely, okay? That's what I teach other people how to do. As an alternative to flipping these houses, sometimes we refinance them and hold them as rentals. I have a superpower of getting, I would say I'm pretty much amongst the best out there in the country of being able to get OPM, and I have a superpower of acquiring properties at a discount. And I teach that, and my students have that superpower as well. But if you're looking to be like the best landlord, if you're looking to, do Airbnbs, I can help you get to that point, but I'm not the dude that can help you like really cultivate your Airbnb empire because that's not what I do. If you're looking to do commercial real estate or do subject to financing, there's other people that do that, and they're great at it, right? That's just not something I can help with. I would feel uncomfortable having anyone pay a dime with the expectation of doing something that I'm not, I haven't mastered, right? And although I've mastered this game, I'm still growing, so don't get me wrong. I'm far from perfect. But I play this game every day. I teach it, and every day for 11 years, I've worked on my business, and my business has paid off extreme amount of results. All right? Good question. Oh, yeah. Hawaii for F. Do you remember selling your first ever property? How much did you flip? How was the experience? Yeah, of course I do. Well, first off, I talked about it earlier. It was my 273rd offer. And my boy Grant, who is my best friend, I went to college with Grant. Grant knows way more about me than anybody should ever know. Grant knew me when I was broke as a motherfucker. And Grant was my first real estate agent, and he helped me coordinate the deal and get the offer accepted. And he helped me coordinate a lot of that stuff. And it was a house in Hemet, California on Ida Lane. It had a guest house, a main house, and a pool, and it was in good condition. And another investor had just bought it as a short sale for like really cheap, like $100,000. And this house was probably like 3,000 square feet. And it was worth, at the end of the day, like $250,000, $260,000 as an after repair value, which is what I could resell it for. And it was in decent condition. It's just the people went through a short sale. And so this investor got cold feet as soon as he bought it. So the investor sold it to me for like $165,000, $168,000. So that investor made like $65,000 on it, but I didn't care how much they made. I just was trying to get something at a good deal. And so it had been so long. I remember I got the call back from Grant, and he was like, "Hey, Jake, Ida Lane, we finally got one accepted, dude. Congratulations." I was like, "Shit, bro, I got to call you back." I remember hanging up the phone. It was a BlackBerry. Hung up the phone, and I was like, "Dude, I can't do this. Like, people were right by telling me that this stuff is a scam, that, people can't really flip houses with other people's money, like blah, 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 blah." But I had been trying to do this stuff for like 2.5 months every single day, just working and working and working at it. And I had my girlfriend put the whole money to get into learning how to do this on her credit card. And I felt just all this pressure from either way. One side was saying, "You can't do this. What are you thinking? You're this kid. You grew up poor, right? Like, you don't talk right. You have a stutter. Like, you're broke as fuck. You can't do this, right? What are you thinking? Just shut your phone off. Just go ghost for a while and go get a job at Starbucks." And the other side was like, "Dude, you have everything on the line here, and this was your sole goal for the last 2.5 months. You made all these offers. You got embarrassed with some of the offers because people told you not only no, but never write a fucking offer on any of my flips ever again." I've been going through this whole dog and pony show trying to learn, and I finally got there. And so there was a book called The Miracle Morning that says, like, if there's ever anything that's just crazy on your brain and you're trying to get your shit together. And I learned this because I've gone through depression and anxiety before. Move your body, work out, right? Put some good food in your system, hydrate, and work out. And so I went for a run. I remember I was in Temecula, California, running down Rancho California Road. I was on the right side of the street because I saw all the brake lights of everything going by me. I was listening to gangster rap because that usually would be like, I think I was listening to Dr. Dre. Chronic 2001, or something from the original Chronic. But I would listen to it, and I'm running, and I'm moving my body, and my mind just starts getting right. I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking? Why are you even, like, thinking of doing this? And I'm not a big runner, by the way, so I'm, like, winded, right? I was listening to it on my BlackBerry, listening to this music on, my phone. I remember finally, I was probably 10 minutes into this run. I'm like, dude, sack up, essentially. And so I stopped running. I'm all winded. I'm on the side of a busy street. And I called Grant back. "Hey, sorry about that, dude. Like, my bad." Right? He's like, "Where are you at?" I was like, "Oh, I'm taking a walk." It's like, "But yeah, hey, great news about that flip. Great news about Ida. Let's do it. Like, get me in touch with the title company tomorrow. Let's go." Right? And it was the biggest fear of my life. Maybe not fear. I was just like, I was so scared and so overwhelmed. I was scared of success. I was scared of failure. I was scared of the accountability that came with either of them. Just all these things. I was 26 years old and like trying to do this, and it was finally here. And it was so weird to me. But I ended up moving forward, and I remember I slept on it, right? I told my girlfriend, I was like, "Hey, we got one, And I slept on it, and I remember waking up, and I had my shit together, ate a good breakfast, had some coffee. It's like, all right, well, newsflash, I'm broke. Like, I got to figure this out. And so I ended up pursuing. So my numbers were on point. And I put it under contract. We ended up getting offers on it. I had it for a good price when they're like, "Don't do renovation to it. Like, just put a couple grand here and there, and we'll buy this from you for $235, $240. So I was getting offers at that time. Like right away, Grant was like putting the message in his office because it was still a really good deal. It was in good condition. And that next day I was like, all right, I got to figure out a way to get the money. The numbers are on point. I got to put it together in a way that works. I used to have this sales job where I would put proposals out to these businesses. So I took the structure of my proposal and plug and played all the information on the property. Like, here's what it would sell for, here's why, here's all the comparable properties, here's a screenshot of a map, here's a little table that shows like why it's going to sell for this much. I'm like, all right, I got to find the money. And so I started going in Facebook groups. I call it sniping. I did searches and this was in 2011, right? Late 2011. So Facebook is a different beast now. There's way more resources out there for this. But I started searching these like, real estate investors, house flipping investors, these groups that had a bunch of people in them. And I would use the search function in the group to find people that said, lender, private lender, gap funder. And, there's people out there, and some of them were kind of scammers, or they were just like hard money lenders. I didn't have a dime to put into this. And so there was this dude that was commenting on a lot of these. I saw him comment on 5 or 6 posts. In one post, he would give his number. Another post, he gave his email. His name was Johnny K. He lived in Detroit, Michigan. I was 26. He was probably 58 at the time. And I called that dude nonstop. I just kept leaving messages. Seemed like it was for a week. It was probably over the course of 36 to 48 hours. I probably left him 5 messages, sent him a bunch of emails. And finally, I get a call back from a Michigan. It's like 586 or something like that from Michigan. 586? 313? Fuck free world. 31. I don't remember. It was some Michigan zip code or area code. And hello? It's like, Jake, this is Johnny K. You've left me 6 messages and sent me 5 emails. Like, I didn't have my phone. Me and my wife were on, we're camping. I didn't have service. Like, what's going on, dude? I was like, oh, what's going on? So I put a full court press on this guy. And, I was like, I'm broke. I need everything. I told him that. And he's like, well, I can help you get 70% of the 65% of the after repair value, but you're going to need something out of your own pocket. I was like, John, is there ever an instance that you would lend 100% of everything? He's like, I've done that once in my life, and I've done hundreds of deals. The only time I did that is if somebody had it committed to resell before they bought the property. And it just so happened that that's what Grant was working on, just, I think, to convince me not to back out, that we had such a good deal. And he might have been, just in case I couldn't put it together, he might have been trying to get another client on it. And so I was like, Johnny K, I've had offers from people at a very profitable price point. If I keep it in the condition that it's in, if I can show you an offer on paper, I obviously can't sign the offer until I own it. But if I can show it to you and you can go vet it, would you lend me 100%? He said, yeah. And so I called his bluff. And he was calling my bluff too, I later found out. He's like, yeah, okay, Jake, if you can get somebody to buy this house before you own it, yeah, I'll give you 100%. And so I hit Grant. I got him to convince other people to put it on paper. I told him the situation, sent the contract to Johnny K. Johnny K even called Grant, vetted everything, and John committed the funds to fund it 100%. And I needed it. He actually funded it plus some because he knew I was broke. And he was like, I don't want you losing your house while we had this deal, especially at these numbers. I didn't find out till afterward that those buyers backed out. And Grant didn't tell me because he didn't want me to tell the lender. But he got it under contract with someone else right away, or had somebody else commit to it. And so I owned the property we still did some rehab to it. It needed some little things that needed work, probably 5 or 10 grand into it. And all in all, I was in the deal for a couple months. I made $38,000 of net profit after paying John, and John wasn't cheap. Paid him back. I paid, the real estate agent commissions. I paid my girlfriend back plus interest for going into that seminar. I still had 38 grand in clean profit, right? Net profit after everybody's paid. That's what was it. That was what was, in my bank account. And I remember crying and being so grateful and kind of scared and, everything in between, because I'd never had 38 grand in my bank account. And all of a sudden I had 38 grand and $600. And it was just eye-opening to me. I remember I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep on doing this, and yeah, that was number one. I'll never forget it. I mean, most of those ones in the early stages, in the first year I did 6 of them and I made 130 grand, 125 grand. I probably tell you this. I could tell you the story of most. I've been through a lot of weird shit, a lot of weird stuff. I've been featured in Forbes magazine. And wasn't the way that I would have wanted, but I've been through crazy ups and downs. I've lost everything. I've made it back quicker. My dad passed away 6 weeks after my father-in-law was shot and killed. He was murdered, and then my dad passed away, and I was doing local flips, and that taught me how to flip remotely. I've had contractors rip me off. I've had agents rip me off. I've been through everything. I've said dumb stuff that have just completely shattered relationships. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, and I've had a lot of success too. But I typically you're more mistake prone earlier on in the game, And I remember most of those mistakes because I teach other people, hey, don't make these mistakes. Here's a funny story about how I put my foot in my mouth and, ruined everything for this flip. So, that's my experience. I made 38 grand. And actually, Carlene is now my wife, the one that put everything on her credit cards. We have 3 kids. I have a 7-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son, and a 2-year-old daughter. And we are trying to, get ourselves acclimated here in a new state. So that is that. That's my life story. But hell yeah, I remember that. Nobody ever forgets their first flip. Why'd you leave California? Well, got my kids the hell out of the schools. They're using our kids as pawns. I would say that it's probably for political purposes as well as financial purposes as well. A lot of good friends in California. I didn't like what they were doing with schools. I didn't like how they're masking and jabbing kids. Hey, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Just don't do that to my kids, or don't force me to do that to my kids. But, we had the ability to do it. My wife wanted to, travel out of the state. She's from another state. I lived in California my whole life. We liked Tennessee. It was real interesting. I did pray on it. Yes, I drop F-bombs. Yes, I do pray. We prayed on it for a couple of years. When I pray, I always say, God, give me a sign. That's typically like, show me the direction if I'm ever in conflict or in thought or trying to come to a decision. And for about a year and a half, all the signs that I got were that I was supposed to stay and fight, and I fought like hell. I didn't wear a mask. Yeah, some people disagree with me, and that's cool. I respect your opinion, but I didn't wear masks in grocery stores. I fought that shit to the end, and I had a lot of flack, and I kind of enjoyed it too. But I felt like I was supposed to be there to fight for people that couldn't, or had an employer that was pushing some of that stuff. And again, I got friends that disagree with me, so I ain't trying to offend anybody. But there was finally a time where we were really thinking about it again. It was probably in December of this past year, January. And we prayed on it. And the next day, I sent my kids to private school. My 4-year-old, he was 4 at the time. They were like, hey, you can't come into this school without a mask on. I was like, you. I'm sitting here talking to preschool or pre-K teacher. I was like, you put a mask on my kid's face? And you're going to get repercussions. I'm not threatening you physically, but I'm threatening you legally. That's against the federal law, and I am the type of person that will take it there. You're not going to touch my kids. That mask will not touch my kid's face. And I had to battle that every day. And I won that battle. I didn't touch my kid's face, but it's tough when I got a kid that's wondering why. And I got to explain to him sometimes doing the right thing doesn't mean doing what everybody else does. And kind of got that, but he's 4 too, and he's got friends. And my daughter has a seizure disorder. She's been seizure-free for 2 years, but she had a medical exemption, so that wasn't as hard. Although we didn't, with the grades, for first graders, it wasn't like we just said, you're not putting it on their face. They're like, okay, cool, as long as you're cool with that, we're cool with that. So that was easy, but I started battling that, and it was a big deal for me because I did not like it. I pay a shit ton of money to let my kids go to school here because I'm trying to get out of the public system where they were doing that with all the kids. Then the next day, I had this gym at my HOA. Where I lived, and I literally walked in to go get a workout and blow off some steam, and the lady in the front was blocking me, she's playing defense on me, checking me. She said, you can't come in here. I was like, you fucking tripping, I can't come in here. They're like, see that sign? You have to have a mask to come in here. I was like, no, this is my HOA. They say that stuff to me in the stores. I'll go shop somewhere else, or I'll just keep going and be polite about it, but not where I live. Anyway, I got into a big deal with that. I didn't wear it. I went before the board. I won that one too, but those made me uncomfortable because it was really close to home. And so in that moment, we're like, that's the sign we're looking for. And we looked in Texas, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina. We're thinking even of Utah and Idaho, and something about Eastern Tennessee on paper was really good for us. We came out and visited. We liked it. Started making offers. I bought a house within 2 months. And we've been renovating it for 2 months while the kids finished out school. And moved here a couple of weeks ago. That's why I moved. I mean, there's no state income tax here. A lot of the taxes are a lot different. I don't know. I know people on both sides. I don't really not get along with people. And so it's kind of the same. It's just a little bit more humid. I got a way bigger yard. And, people, one thing that I've noticed that's different from California is that people are super nice. I'm typically really outgoing because I like to talk. I'm like, hey, how you doing today? That's good. And people are like, I'm doing great. How are you? Look at me square in the eyes, where usually they kind of look away, like, oh, I'm good. They're like, great. How are you doing? Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Well, and talking to me, I'm like, why are they being so nice to me? What do they want from me? So I found that people are a little bit slower pace here, and I'm a little bit faster pace. I found that people are just really kind, really generous. And it still kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. It's like, why are they being so nice? The Southern hospitality is a real thing. And in West Knoxville, I live close to a big river, the Tennessee River and lakes and stuff like that, which I've never been around. And it's beautiful here, at least right now. So that's my story about that. That's my story. All right, so is it possible to get bank-owned foreclosure? And this is going to be the last one because I got to go eat dinner. So a foreclosure, like the process of a bank-owned foreclosure, is somebody that had a mortgage on their house and they stopped paying the mortgage. They've been warned with a notice of default, and they're saying, like, you got 3 months or however long they have, or else we're going to take the property back. And if it goes all the way to foreclosure, that means the bank has repossessed the property. That's a foreclosure. It's also called REO. It's called real estate owned, which I don't understand. I still don't get why they call it real estate owned. But the bank now, or the lender, I guess I should say, now owns the property. So that's a foreclosure. Typically, a lot of times the bank have what's called shadow inventory, where they don't want to sell it. They just hold it there as a vacant house for however many years because they either want appreciation or something with insurance. Like, all of them kind of have different reasons. I've bought a couple of houses before they've gone on the open market, where somebody's kind of tipped me off, like, hey, this bank or this local bank has heard about you, and or this asset manager for the bank, who the person responsible for it, wants to see if you're interested in this house. So I bought a couple of them over the last 10 years like that. But typically, if I'm buying a foreclosure, they put it on the market for sale. And I just get OPM to do it. Sometimes it's like a little bit different of a contract because their attorneys, like Bank of America, will write in there like, hey, this is as is, where is, with all faults, blah, 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 blah. You have to be a 30-day close instead of 14, which I'm like, okay, great. I'm fine with that. You can't be an employee of JP Morgan Chase or whatever it is. So they all kind of have different structures to their contracts, but they typically go on the open market. You don't see a lot of foreclosures right now because people have so much equity in their home that if they are going to have trouble making payments, they can sell their home and make $100,000, And so you don't see as much right now because there's been crazy appreciation over the last 2 years. Good question, though. Anyway, guys, I'm going to run. It's been real. I like doing these. We've been at it for like hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes. If you're interested in the mentorship program, again, we got 50 spots. Those are first come, first serve. We have 14-day money-back guarantee. We have payment plans. It's not cheap. It's not free. It's not for everyone. I'm very aware I'm a dude from your phone, so that's why we have the money-back guarantee. I'm also very aware that there's a lot of gurus that lack integrity or don't, they lie about what they've done, or they don't play the game at all themselves. They just teach out of a book. I'm aware of that too. Skepticism is warranted. I get that. That's why we have the guarantee. That's why I post results all the time. This game is for real. I play it every day. And if you want to call our bluff, hit the link in the bio. Submit an application, schedule a call, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Take it easy. Talk soon. Peace, y'all.